All right, guys, we are live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Mark Luckenbaugh here, of course, with my infamous co-host Matt Stack. And we have a kick-ass guest on today, Jacob Tanner. What is up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Oh, weird. My is my video showing? No?
It actually just cut out, so
Yep.
we
Ah,
were just talking about if something can potentially go wrong, it will as soon as we go live. So it
yeah.
happens to us too. It's the curse of local client playbook. Don't feel bad. But for those of you who, if any of you might not know, Jake Tanner, he was a really awesome coach for Source ROI. Um, he used to do a lot of testing and technical SEO, and he still does SEO. But today he's going to tell us a little bit about how his business evolved from SEO into a digital marketing agency, something we should all aspire to do to chase the larger dollar and to satisfy larger clients. So it's going to be a fun episode, man. Happy to have you on.
Can you guys hear me now?
I
No,
can
okay.
now.
Oh man,
I can now.
what is going on? Let me see if oh, there we go.
Awesome, man. There you are.
All right. I
Uh,
think I'm ready
in,
now.
in case my audio, when I just gave you a wicked intro, I brought up. Could you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I could hear you.
Sweet. All right, cool. Yeah, so I mean, no, we haven't really talked since you were the coach in ROI, man. Tell us a little bit about because you went from point A to point B for sure. I mean, you went from a technical SEO guy to a growing a large digital marketing agency guy. So, how'd you start? First, let's just talk about how you started out in general, man. What was your start out? What'd that look like?
Yeah. So I don't know if Matt's heard this story. My very first thing that I started actually was a gaming website for video gamers. I created a social networking site for video gamers that played
Cool.
like Xbox and PlayStation and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, and when I first developed that, I just had my friend develop it and design it and stuff and create it. And he launched it, and I thought like a million people were going to join it. I think I was like 16 or 17 at the time when I launched this.
Mhm.
And I had like 100 people join, and then no one else came. So I was like, well, now what do I do? I thought this was going to be like a bajillion dollar idea overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was like, man, I have to actually learn how to market this, but I don't have any money. So like, what can I do for free to get the word out there to do this stuff? And that's kind of how I got into internet marketing was, creating discussions and started building like free or really cheap links and learning how to. That's how I really got into SEO when I first started. Was I optimized like super easy blog posts. No one was going for like I think the first Gears of War was like big back then, and like Halo and stuff was big. So I was going for like Halo guides and
Okay.
um, like Gears of War guides and like cheats and stuff, and they would literally get like 10,000 searches a month or something like that.
Mhm.
And I showed up like first or second for like all of those keywords I started showing up for when I just started teaching myself SEO, and that's when I first started because it was like uncompetitive but like crazy amounts of searches. I
Yeah.
just
Right.
started getting like thousands of users to the website, and
Oh, that's really awesome, man.
then I realized I had no idea how to make money from the website. So
Mhm.
like I was just making money off AdSense, and it was like super super cheap. I was making like 200 $300 a month, and like that was my hosting cost for like the app and the website. So it was like
Right.
I was just breaking even. And then my a couple of people locally were like, "Oh, can you?" I told some people what I did, and they're like, "Oh, could you do that for like my business?" Someone asked me, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, for like $300 a month, I'll do that for your business." And then I did really well, ranked them, and then other people started to come to me and were like, "Oh," and then I kind of let the gaming site go to the wayside, and that's not up anymore. That was a little while ago, but now it turned into, oh, I can make way more money without any expenses, just getting local clients and
Mhm.
ranking those for things. Well, I say without any expenses, with very little expenses
Right.
and overhead to do that. Starting out now, I have a crazy amount of expenses, and it's like scary. But
Yeah.
when you get to the larger stage, when you're working from home and you have like you just have to like buy links and create links and optimize web pages. It's super cheap and super easy to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then now it's gotten a lot bigger, and there's a lot a lot more to pay for each month. So if any large client, that's when it gets kind of scary too at the same time. But So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I am now. Is there's a lot of steps in between that, but that was kind of the beginning, and now the end is I run a really large agency that has a bunch of employees, and um, we probably have about 35, 40 clients in between there. We are staggering around now, so
Right.
that's where we ended up.
And you service larger clients now. You're more in the upper echelons of digital marketing where your clients are a little bit bigger than like a local plumber and stuff like that.
It depends. It's kind of,
Okay.
I think we still have some clients that are about in the like $1,500 a month range.
Okay.
So to that, I mean, that's probably our smallest client, $1,500 a month.
Makes sense.
Um, and then and then I believe our largest client is probably spending like $12,000 a month with us right now. So,
Okay. Nice.
um, so it's around there, but we actually have a bunch of clients paying like 10 grand a month right now with us.
Okay, very
So,
good. Yeah,
um,
those 5-figure a month deals, they're nice clients to have.
yeah, yeah. Once we started landing those, and now that we've got those, I'm like, I'll get like a $10,000 check, and I'm like, nah, whatever. Like the first time I got a $10,000 check, I was like, this is amazing. I got a $10,000 check in my hand. Like
Yeah.
this is so much money. And now I'm
It's going auto
like,
expenses.
can someone like give me a $50,000 check, please, or a $100,000 check? It's like,
Right.
it's weird how you think like you would get somewhere and it'd be enough, and now like you slowly are like it's never enough. You're just driven to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my first 5-figure client, man. I called my mom and everything. I'm like, Mom! I'm like, I got my first massive client. It's crazy. And then you do start to realize you become like immune to it. And you're like, hey, I know there's people out there spending a lot more on their marketing. But it's good, man. It's a really good benchmark. Congratulations. It's really good to see someone start from where you did, making a video game site when you were young, into now having a respectable agency. So, um, you definitely used to be, and we were just talking about this before we hit the record button, the play button. Um, you used to be into like the technical SEO, lots of testing. You still do SEO, but what made you decide? And I know we were talking about the money thing, where it's like we can make more money expanding, but I should say when did you decide like man it's time to grow? It's time to not define myself as just an SEO and more digital marketer. Like what did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I did take a big pivot point a little while back. It was probably about a year and a half ago. I took a pretty big pivot point. Um, Before that, I was taking on almost anyone. I was a one-man shop. I was taking on whoever I could. It was
Right.
like $300 accounts, $500 a month accounts. Like a lot of those things. I had like a ton of. I probably had like 20 clients, but I was only doing like. Well, this is probably like 3 years ago, when this was going on. But I was probably 3 years ago only doing like it was probably like $15,000 a month, but with like over 20 clients that were, I was doing tons and tons of work for them every day, and
Right.
I was making, like I said, 300, 500, 600, like in that range of stuff. I probably my largest client back then was probably $1,000 a month, so it was a big difference from there to now. And I
Right.
thought about it, and I was like, man, I'm making a really good profit for myself. I'm like, I'm whatever. I'm like a 21 or 22-year-old making $15,000 a month with low overhead. I can
Sure.
cash a lot of that, whatever.
Hmm.
But then I was like, is this what I want to do? Is just keep this a lifestyle business, do it on my own, um, just live a nice, happy life like that, or do I want to kick it up a notch, make a really big multi-million-dollar agency, create jobs, hire people? It's going to be way harder.
Right.
It's going to be something different. And then that was kind of like 2 years ago that hit me, was like, man, that's what I really want to do. I don't want to just do this, one-off thing. I created an end goal of I want to sell my agency by the time I'm 30, and for a huge lump sum between 15 and $20 million, and cash out and start something new. And I really want to get into the business of buying undervalued businesses, growing them, and selling them, kind of thing.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
in the end. But so I kind of created that. I started at the end, like where do I want to end up in life, and what do I want to really do, and that was kind of my goal. And I know that got to really determine like what you want to do. If you just want that lifestyle business, you want to have a lot of free time, you want to like, hang out with your kids and do all that stuff, which I had none of those things. So I didn't have to work. I had a lot of free time on my hands. And if you're, like a dad or mom or something and you have a lot of other stuff, that might be more beneficial to stick to the, I'm doing $10,000, $12,000 a month. It's a really good income for me. I have a lot of free time. I can do whatever I want in my own time. That you stick to that. Now I'm working the craziest hours I've ever worked in my life. I'm
Right.
working, probably every single day is probably 12-hour plus days.
Sure.
And even though now I have more people working for me and we're doing a lot more stuff and things like that, it's just it's crazy. So it's just really what you want to end up doing and what your end goal is.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man. That's good stuff. So you kind of, and this is what I heard. I don't know if this is true or not. I forget who told me this. Someone that talks tech. I can't even remember. But they said you had a little bit of a growth hack. You found a salesman or some other marketing guy who you. And
Yeah.
the reason I love this is because I always tell people, like, you can do the legwork of trying to get clients, and that's fine. But if you find someone who already did the legwork, like I teamed up with a dental consultant, and I got a ton of dentists from that. If you find someone you can growth hack through, I mean, it saves tons of money and time and
Yeah.
acquisition. And you did something similar?
Yes, yeah, that was actually a huge growth period. So exactly probably a year ago, I added. So before that, I had some sales guys. They were kind of wishy-washy. They were like, they might have added a couple clients here and there. They were like okay guys. It was like they didn't really bring anyone huge to me. They might have brought in like $1,000 a month account and
Right.
or $1,500 month account, or those kind of like things. And it might have been like maybe one a month or something like that. Like they weren't really great salespeople and they weren't really like
Right.
super motivated.
Right.
So I went through a bunch of those when I decided like this is the path I want to take. I posted things on Craigslist and stuff like that, like 20% commission, blah blah blah. I had a ton of people contact me and I tried a few out and they were all kind of bad. But this one guy I met through a lot of networking events. He was like at all the networking events I was going to, and he was the sales manager at a TV station locally for me. And I know like I've told this story probably in a bunch of other webinars and everything, but so he was, and then this I had an idea that sprung from when I first met him, and this is why he joined me later on because he found out I was contacting other people, but he was actually going to be promoted to vice president of sales at that TV station. He was going to be the youngest vice president of sales. He was only like 29 years old. And he was going to make like a huge salary. And he just had a baby. He just built a house, like all this crazy stuff. And it was at the same time he was like, man, I like really hate working for the people I work for. And he's like, you're doing like awesome stuff. Like I wish we met, like when you first started this, so we could have done it together off the ground. And so we just kept talking and kept in touch for I probably met him like 3 years before he jumped on board with me. So I kept in touch for that 3 years, and then last July, or probably last like June, he was like, hey, let's just kind of talk about what would happen if we did work together. Like, how would that work out? What would that look like? And so we started like writing up drafts, and it turned into like this thing of, how would I get compensated? What would I do? I wouldn't. He's like, I wouldn't leave the TV station unless I could be a part owner, and like all this crazy stuff happened. So in the end, it was a pretty sophisticated contract, but he ended up getting vested in to the company as part owner based on how much he sold. So I created this sophisticated contract based on if he brought in $750,000 in sales a year, he got 20% of the company. He also I gave him a $2,000 a month salary and a 20% commission starting out on all his accounts that he did, and that was a recurring commission.
Okay.
And the way I did that was, I was like, man, it's going to cost us $1,000 a month to do this account. If you want this person on here, you got to charge them $1,200, and you got to get them to sign at $1,200 so we can pay you your $200 or whatever it was.
Right.
So that kind of thing. And that's how I justified paying him too. Was like, man, if you're a good salesperson, you'll be able to pump it up that 20% you need to pay yourself. And
Right.
That's how it works. So that actually worked out really well. And now that we're so big, I actually capped him. So he can't make more than $10,000 a month anyways now. Um, now that he's also part owner now, so that makes a
Right.
big difference. So I was like,
Yeah.
I capped his commissions.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing. Like there's just a lot of things you have to keep in mind where it's like in the contract and stuff when you first start doing this. And I definitely, since the only reason I signed him up with a $2,000 a month salary to start was because I knew he was that good of a sales guy, and I knew he was like he was going to be a huge. He already gave me clients before that, so I knew that it was going to be like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was someone that I would like found off Craigslist off the street or just someone I was starting out, I would not give them a salary plus commission. It would just be
Right.
straight commission because you never know how good that person's going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another disclaimer I always throw out there too.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's probably brought in, probably $1 million a year already in business for us since he joined us in a year.
That's good stuff.
And from that, we're pretty much working with every single large client in the central New York area, like that you can work with now, or you're either talking to them right now or already working with them. So in all the niches, we have a client that's fairly large.
No, that's really good, man. It's good growth.
So now we're just starting to expand to cities next to us. So like larger cities that are within like a 50-mile radius of us and that kind of thing, 50, 60-mile radius.
What kind of networking events were you going to?
So for networking stuff, it was a lot of like Chamber of Commerce events, a lot of like association events. There was this thing called Syracuse First, which was in my city, which is like it's starting in a lot of cities, like a buy local association.
Okay.
So like a lot of like local businesses would go to it because it's like, oh, we're focused on buy local, don't go to Walmart or Target and those kind of things, and don't buy from Starbucks. And so like that was a really good association events to get involved with.
Right.
And I actually, since I had no money to join any of those guys, one of the hacks, I've released this before, is I would offer something to the Chamber of Commerce or association for free to join, to be able to join them. So what I do is a trade. And what I used to do was a mobile website before mobile websites were a big thing. This is like 4 years ago. And I think Due to Mobile just got created like 3 or 4 years ago. And all I did was I would go to them and be like, hey, your website's not mobile friendly. We'll give you a free mobile website. It would take me like 10 minutes to build it and like Due to Mobile and set it up for free and stuff like that.
Right.
As if you let us join, we bypass your like fees. So instead of that $500 a year or whatever it is, $350 a year, like those kind of things, I got in all those places for free and could join all them for free.
That's cool,
go to
man.
all their events for free. So I just was like, look, I'll give you this mobile website. I made it like a big deal. I'm like, man, it's like $1,000 value. So like your $500 thing is like, it's great for me to join it. So I just got into all the chambers and businesses for free that way when I started.
Nice.
Because I literally had no money to join those things. And then on top of that, what I would do with those guys, another little hack that I did, since I provided so much value to them in the front end too, I think after a few months of joining them and kind of going to some of their events and meeting the people that ran it and that kind of stuff, I went in and I would do talks to all their members. So they would actually set up talks for me. They would give me the room for free. They would market it for free. They would get people to sign up. It was just a free event. I said I would not pitch in it. I'm just going to do an event about like where the web is going, what business owners should know about it. That's what I titled it, was Where the Web is Going. I did this talk probably like 5 different times for like different associations and chambers and stuff. And I pretty much did like, here's where the web's going. Here's why you need a mobile site. Here's like different kind of marketing aspects. Now Facebook's a big marketing avenue, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I would go over all that stuff. I did like half an hour talk and then question and answers after and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And that like one of those I did one time and I think I had like probably like 12 meetings after, because I was just like, oh, if you want a free consultation, you come to me after. I'll set up a meeting.
Nice.
And like that was literally that was like the extent of a pitch. So I never ever talked about like what I did and like all that stuff. I just said here's where I'm from, like I run an agency that does this stuff, and then that was like the most I ever said anything about it. I never like tried to sell them on anything there in the room.
Right.
And that's why the chambers and associations were fine with promoting it and letting me do it. I set it up. You can set it up on Eventbrite. That's what I did. Was like I did free tickets on Eventbrite. Had people just just put in their email and phone number, like their email and information there in Eventbrite. You create a free event. Then you have a link, like a landing page link that has the time and date and when you're doing it. You can put it on their Facebook and have them share it and have them email blast it out and all that stuff.
That's
So
great
that
position,
worked really
man.
well. Yeah, so that worked really well too when I first started out as a free way to get a ton of people and clients and just get in the door with people.
That's awesome, man. I really like how you stress the, you offered to give, some type of talk or speech or seminar, whatever you want to call it, and you didn't have that pitch in there, that aggressive pitch. So many people are, I don't know, they're engineered to think they need to have a real hard pitch in order to make something happen, and that turns people off more than not,
Yeah, I didn't talk about any services
That's
we
awesome.
offered or anything.
Yeah,
Or
and
packages
it worked
or any of that
awesome,
stuff.
right? You
Yeah.
said a lot of people came for the
we got a lot more people consulting. I actually landed like the second largest. One of them I did. I had a meeting with after I landed like the second largest furniture store in our area.
Nice.
So that was a big client add-on. But like that's really what it was like. And these people realize like, man, maybe I need this stuff. And then they might look it up later and be like, I have no idea how to do this. I should call that guy back and see if he can do it for us. That's literally their mindset. So that's how I kind of went through those things.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that. That just offer people genuine value and they'll gravitate towards you. You don't have to hard sell them. I like that.
Yeah, and we never do. None of our sales guys do any of that stuff ever. It's literally we're like, we be present. We answer stuff super promptly. Like no one goes without 24 hours of being answered, or emails or phone calls or anything like that. Now, and just that alone, our customer service has made a big difference between all the other agencies in our local area. I think our customer service stands out. Everyone they're buying the same. Like if you're doing pay-per-click or AdWords or Facebook ads or anything, they're all buying the same thing. They're all selling the same thing. Pricing's not usually a big difference either. Maybe it's 25% or 30% fee, whatever.
Right.
It's kind of like, and everyone we work with now is like, man, it's amazing to work with you. We get tons of referrals now because we're just so on top of everyone that we work with, and we're kind of like over the top with communication. So we're very transparent with everything, and we're very like, if we haven't heard from someone in a week, we will reach out and send them their reports and ask them how they're doing and those kind of things. Now that I have people on board that can do that, and that's made a huge difference on everything. Because if you just let someone, even with SEO, a lot of times we will still only send SEO reports once a month. Right. But a lot of times we will still, a week or two will go by, or maybe a little over a week, and we'll still reach out and like see how things are going, what the client's up to, that kind of stuff, and just be like, we don't even have to give them any details. Just say, yeah, we think the SEO stuff's going really great. You're going to get your report on this date, kind of thing, just to reach out and meet, talk with them and be top of mind awareness. And kind of people really like that instead of just sending them an automated report every month, and it's like, wow, thanks for my other automated report. What do I pay you guys for?
Absolutely.
So, and that's where I think a lot of people lose clients too.
That's a good point. That you probably retain a lot higher percent than an agency who just gives out automated reports. That's a good one, man.
Yeah, I think so far since we've had new salespeople and since I've expanded everything, I think we've had like 2 clients leave us out of like the 40 new ones that we've added in the last year.
That's really impressive. That's good numbers.
Yeah, so it's been working. Our model's been working out pretty great.
How do you implement that kind of customer service to make sure they're doing these things?
Yeah, so one big thing we stress with our people is one little like hack that we all do now in the office is if you read an email and it's like something you have to do later or it's something you can't get done right away, we always mark it as unread right when we're done reading it, either on our phones or in the email box. So you can go back and click, if you type in unread in Gmail, it'll just, you type label unread and it'll pop up all your unread stuff, so that's kind of like a to-do task.
Yeah.
That's one little way that we keep track of those things, of what's come in and what we need to remember to do and that kind of stuff. A huge way we do it is actually we've implemented BaseCamp into everything that we do. I don't know if you guys know of BaseCamp or have used BaseCamp, but everything that we do now is all implemented in BaseCamp, all our web design development. We have all our clients have a different project, and we have all our to-do tasks in there. We assign them to different employees, and we upload all the stuff in there. So we like upload all the passwords in there. We upload all the files in there for the websites. We, like everything's in BaseCamp now, and we keep track
Yeah.
of every little to-do we have to do and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, I love BaseCamp, man. That's such a great. So if you guys, whoever's watching, if you're not using BaseCamp, it's really great. It really
yeah,
helps just streamline all the processes, especially when you start to scale. It's essential.
yeah. So that's a huge part. Our every day is like we could not live without BaseCamp if we didn't have that in there. So,
Nice.
and that was something for us to get used to. That was kind of hard in the beginning because we weren't used to doing that stuff. So that was just like we had to force ourselves to put things into BaseCamp when we first started using it because we were just like, I'll just send you an email, man. Just get this done. Like, who cares about putting it in BaseCamp?
Right.
So a lot of times we'd have to send an email and sometimes double it, like put an email out to send some information, but also put it in BaseCamp to do, like, explain it through the email. But we just had to start doing that. That was just something we had to overcome. And now that we've
Yeah.
gotten in the habit of it, it works amazing.
It's an awesome habit, man. I'm on board with you there. I'm a big advocate for Basecamp.
Yeah.
So we talked that you still do plenty of SEO for your clients, but you moved into a ton of other services. You want to talk about some of the other services you started offering and how that looked?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first thing I think I started offering, I'm pretty sure, was AdWords after SEO. So
Nice.
the next thing, because people just, that it was natural, like people were like, oh man, we're doing SEO, but we also want to get in some AdWords and that kind of stuff. So we
Sure.
just started offering AdWords services. I use a pretty streamlined software that's, not really that cheap. It's called WordStream, that manages all your AdWords stuff and does kind of like automated processing and can pull a lot of the data for you and automatically tell you like how to optimize and what you should be doing and what kind of groups to create and all that stuff. So we use that, but that's not really. I think it's like $600 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
It's based on your spend that you spend. And then after AdWords, it was web design development we added. So we went in because, and the reason that we started adding these super quick. So right after AdWords, it was like all the other services we almost added at once. So like web design development, Facebook advertising is huge for us now. We do a ton of, I think we're spending like $800, $900 a day on Facebook for our clients now.
Cool.
And because it's just gotten amazing results. It's been getting way better results than our AdWords and pay-per-click, and it's just a lot more cost effective right now.
Yeah, Facebook's awesome.
And some of the niches are like not even tapped, so we're getting like super cheap, like 50-cent clicks and stuff. Like we have like one of the largest like fertility clinics. And he's like one of the top 5 biggest fertility clinics in the U.S. and we're doing tons of Facebook advertising for him. I mean, we're doing SEO for him. We're doing Facebook. We're managing all their websites. They have like 4 websites now. So that client, they started with us at like $5,500 a month, but they're going to end up at like $20,000 a month client once we're, get them fully ramped up with everything.
Very nice.
But like that, we're getting, like I said, like clicks to their website. We're getting like, it is like 50 or 60-cent clicks. And we started adding in like an extra 3 leads a day to those guys just from Facebook advertising. Because we were tracking conversions and all that stuff in the website. So back to what I was talking about. Website design development, Facebook ads, email marketing we're doing, which is not the normal way you guys think of email marketing, which we can talk about. We do, I cannot think of anything right now. We do retargeting.
That's huge.
Retargeting's big, so yeah, most of our clients do retargeting because it's pretty cost effective. It's pretty cheap for the client. It's like, we're charging like $10 a thousand or something, and we pay our person like $5 per thousand impressions or whatever.
Right.
So I think that's majority of the main things that we're focusing on now: SEO, AdWords, web design development, Facebook ads. The 2 big things that we're going to add right when they come out, and we're going to push really hard to sell when they first come out, is Instagram advertising and Pinterest advertising. When those two hit the mainstream, those are going to be like the day they open, we're going to probably have clients using them.
Yeah.
Because I think those are going to be big in the future. With Instagram, you're going to be able to pick the same exact targeting you can on Facebook, because a lot of people's Facebook accounts are attached to their Instagram since Facebook owns Instagram. So the targeting is going to be crazy on that,
Yeah.
just like Facebook is. And the same thing with Pinterest. The targeting is going to be, I think, really, really good, and you're going to get really great results with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So those are going to be two big things that we'll definitely add in by the end of this year, probably.
That's really good stuff, man. So this email marketing,
Yeah. So
enlighten us, man.
with the email marketing, what we do for those guys is it's not someone. We do the stuff where someone already has a list, or we'll build lists for people, and then create the HTML mockups and the design, and then send out their emails for them, through Aweber or Mailchimp or Constant Contact, whatever they're using. We do that, but the big email marketing that I'm talking about that we sell is actually just kind of like a cold email marketing. What it is we'll buy certain email. We have a third party partner that has like these huge email lists. They have huge email databases. It's like double opt-in. It's people from like magazines and
Okay.
kind of like stuff like that. So it's like they know their interests and their ages, and they have like all these selects that you can create, almost like Facebook ads. So you can select their age, their household income, like their credit scores. Like you can get in crazy if they just like bought a new car recently, like all these crazy things. It's people that have opted in and through different things on the web. And so they have all those options, and then we create the selects. Third-party partner sends us, here's how many people you'll reach on those selects. They'll give us, you have to have a minimum spend for each one. So we'll send out, I think it's like 50,000 people you have to reach in one email as a minimum spend. We'll send that out to everyone. Though they also guarantee opt-ins and click-through rates.
Oh, wow.
Or I mean, not opt-ins, opens.
Opens. Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, holy hell.
That's
That's
opens and click-through rates, sorry.
That's still good,
it's like
though.
it's like an 8% guaranteed open rate and like a 1.2 or something percent click-through rate. Most of our clients are getting like 11-12% open and 2% click-through kind of thing to their sites.
Okay.
Good stuff.
But the minimum you can send, I think for our clients, it's like $900 or $1,000. My cat. I'm in my house right now. I'm not even at my office. Yeah. But so could you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Probably want something.
They always do.
So yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. So yeah, they would charge us. Third party partner might charge us like about $900 to send out an email to 50,000 people. With the selects and everything, you got to create the HTML mockup and all that stuff. And we will get away with charging clients, $1,600, $1,700 an email blast.
Sure.
So we have no trouble. It's usually like $1,600. It'll cost us about $900 from start to finish to design it, create it, all that stuff, send it out. And then they send you all the reporting and all that stuff. You can put in like Google Analytics tags and stuff if you want to count all the clicks inside the email and stuff like that. So that's been a big part of our stuff. Like a lot of clients will use that, and they have no problem paying the $1,600 for a one-off email blast that does that. So we do a lot of those too, which has been.
Do you offer any? I'm sorry.
What's that? What were you saying?
Sorry. Do you offer any like crow services or stuff like that?
What's that? Like
conversion rate optimization.
Oh, okay. Yeah, crow. I didn't hear what you said the first time.
Matt just has to be a cool guy. He can't say CRO. Like, you can't just be a normal guy and say, hey, do you offer CRO? He has to
I'm
be
just going to throw acronyms out there.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah, he's the king of making up acronyms as he goes.
Yeah, so we do that for some of our larger clients. We don't try to sell it, and we don't offer it to clients that are just like, someone that's paying us like $1,500 a month for SEO. We're not really going to care to do conversion rate optimization for a lot of the stuff.
Right.
But for like the one client that I was talking about, that's the fertility client. Since we manage their websites and do like all their digital marketing, it's like a huge kind of combined thing. Yeah. We've done a lot for them where we keep track of all their. we have to have access to a lot of things. It really depends on the client. So we've kind of just added that into the monthly fee where like, we'll test different opt-in forms. We'll
Yeah.
test different kind of context. We'll test placing the opt-in forms in different places, like all those kind of things.
Hmm.
I mean, it's really hard to get a client on board with like, hey, give us full reins to do whatever we want to the web. Like we've
Yeah.
had so many clients are like, man, I don't want this here, I don't want that there, and we're like, well, here's the disclaimer of it might not be that great. We're getting people to your website. Things might not happen though, and then they complain about it later, and then we finally get to change it. But we just can only make suggestions, and that's so we don't really offer it like pricing and packaging for that kind of stuff.
I gotcha.
That makes sense, man. What was your biggest pain point in scaling the agency, starting to hire and stuff? Because that was a nightmare for me. I don't know,
Yeah. So the hardest thing definitely for us is hiring, the
yeah,
hiring process. Hiring people full time in house, even hiring outsourcers is like such a
yeah.
pain.
It really
Um,
is.
it's so hard. We're trying to hire two new people, and we've been in this process for about a month so far of interviewing and going through people that we need two more full time in house employees, and we always think we find someone that we like, and then we do at least 2 to 3 in-person interviews now with people if we're hiring them in-house. And the ones that we've had, it's usually been like the first interview is really good. We do the second interview, and it's just like, man, we can't hire this person.
What
So
happened?
you just learn like things about them over time that you won't learn within the first 30 minutes of meeting them.
Right.
Yeah.
So just having those extra conversations makes a big difference of accidentally hiring someone that's going to be really bad for your company. And
Yeah.
I think the hiring is like super important of who you actually hire, especially early on, because
Agreed.
it can really hurt you, like hurt you if you're not
Yeah.
hiring the right people when you first start. And that's just it's been like we found, so it's pretty much like someone like Matt came and interviewed with us, and then we found like all of his videos on the internet, and we are like, we can't hire this guy. So like that just happened to us recently, um,
You see him
with
trolling in
someone that we
social media
Yeah.
groups.
yeah. So we found this stuff, and we're like, but we just found like these crazy YouTube videos that he created, and we're like, we
Oh
we
god.
can't hire this dude anymore. So like
How crazy were they?
he was like our number one pick. Well, I mean, he was getting into more like racism and like all this
Oh,
other kind of
oh
stuff.
my goodness, no.
It's like just bad things. So like we were like, man, he was not like that at all in our interview, and we liked him the most. We wanted to hire him. Like, but then we started doing background checks and stuff, and we're like, man, we cannot hire this dude. This is going to be a bad news like in a month from now if we hired him.
Yeah.
And he knew a decent amount about SEO and stuff, so he would have been really trainable. But it was just like I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then we had a girl that came just yesterday for her second interview. She was 30 minutes late to her second interview. We're like,
Oh,
are you
that's great.
serious? Like, she's like,
Yeah,
I
good
couldn't
job.
find the place. I'm like, you came here for the first interview. Like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
So it was just like, and then like, just it wasn't even that. Like, then there was a lot of things that came up when we were talking to her again, and we're just like, man, we can't hire her either. And
Wow.
then this other guy, then like a third person we were talking to this past week, we called him back for a second interview, and he's like, oh, I didn't see your guys' salary range. That's way out of what I wanted. So unless you can offer me this, I can't work for you guys. And we're like, well, we can't offer you that. So now we're like going back to square one again with,
Yeah.
so like you just run into all that kind of crazy stuff. It's hiring and scaling.
Yeah.
So it's just something you have to deal with if you're going to go this route. I mean, if this route sounds painful, then stick to the $15,000-$20,000 a month and just do it all on your own.
Yeah.
Which you can do. You can stay around that size and do on your own, but that's again not my end goal to do that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
When
know. I think people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, when do you think's the best time to hire like your first employee?
There you go.
to hire your first employee, for us it was hard because I would say so. There's a couple different answers to that. The number one answer would be when you can afford them. That would be the first, the number one answer to that.
Yeah.
Because our thing is, I wanted to hire someone way before we did hire our first employee, and we couldn't because we couldn't afford them yet. Like just the cash flow was kind of tight, and we were like, in the way our business works, since we got a lot bigger and we have a lot bigger clients, they're used to like net 30 type payments.
Hmm.
So there's a bunch of our clients that we're paying Facebook ads and AdWords for them, and they reimburse us at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're like, man, if we add one really large client, we're not going to have enough money to even pay ourselves, let alone an employee. So like,
Yeah.
we had to kind of build up the cash reserves first before we could hire that first person. Um, I would recommend not doing the net 30 thing that we're doing, especially when you're starting. Try to stay
Yeah.
away from that. Get paid up front if you can. It's just kind of the way that our area worked and our industry worked, in the way that my main sales guy came on board, and he worked in TV ads, and all his clients were used to the clients he took over were used to that net 30, net 60. So it was kind of really hard to get them off that, and we couldn't really with some of them. And now we have people we're fronting like $6,000 a month for some campaigns just in advertising, and then we have to get reimbursed to get reimbursed for that, and it's just like that can cause some tight cash flow issues when you're first starting out.
I'd imagine.
So we were getting like 3 hours of sleep at some point and like killing ourselves to get all the work done before we could hire the first person. And I would definitely say hire someone before that if you can. The hard part about doing that is you really have to check like how much money you're doing. You have to have your finances in order to really figure out if you can hire someone, because you don't want to hire someone and then be like, a month down the road, we can't pay you. Like,
Yeah.
that's something horrible. So
Yeah, that's not good.
we make sure that was one of the things is if I could have hired someone earlier, I would have. I think once you get to the 12-hour day marks, you want to hire someone, because like you're gonna crash and burn eventually, because you can't keep that 12 to 15-hour day pace up forever, especially if you're working through the whole weekends and you don't see a friends or family ever. Then it's definitely time to hire somebody for that. But
This sounds like
it all comes back to like when you can afford it, really.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't think there's any really like specific time. There's no like indicators for every business like, hey,
The 10th Tuesday.
Yeah, like we reached our 12th client. Now it's time to hire someone. Like there's nothing like that. That's gonna have you like hire someone right away or whatever when you reach that point, or even if you like, hey, we reached $30,000 in revenue. Let's hire our first employee. Like,
Yeah.
there's not anything like that. It really depends on what you're doing and what you're offering, and revenue could mean something completely different. Like a lot of times people ask me revenue, and now we count in our revenue. People reimbursing us for that $6,000 payment of ad campaign. So like that $6,000 I never saw, but that's technically revenue for us because they're paying it.
Right.
And then it gets expensed right out. So that's kind of hard to say.
That makes sense. Now, I know we're getting close to wrap-up time. I have one last question for you, and we don't need to get into any specifics. I don't want to put you on the spot. But, a lot of people know you as being the coach. You coached in Source ROI, and, it looked like you were going to do some type of training or something along those lines. And then we got to kind of watch you evolve from like the technical SEO coach into, building a digital marketing agency. Are you ever going to, you don't need to get specific, but are you ever going to come back out into the public with anything in any type of way, whether it's coaching or any type of training?
Yeah, so I created a brand that I think I invited Matt to a few months back, called Grow the Agency.
Okay.
So I really want to start kind of a website with like videos and stuff, and kind of just going over how I grew my agency and all the specifics of it, and more so like there's so many courses out there that teach you the technical side of SEO. And those kind of things. I don't want to really get into that so much. And there's so many courses that teach you the technical side of Facebook advertising and that kind of stuff. Like there's all those things are out there. I really want to get into more of, how do I get the clients? How do I keep my clients? How do I actually, finance my business? How do I keep track of all that stuff? How do
Building a real business, yeah.
Yeah. So like, how do I keep track of things in BaseCamp? Like,
Yeah.
what should I be doing if the client says this? Like what should I be doing if someone says they can't afford this? what's kind of like my rebuttals, what's some of the sales tactics you use,
Sure.
um, when should I upgrade to like my office and that kind of stuff, like what's the difference between having a home office and a real office, and just like all kind of go into all those
That's
kind of
awesome,
nitty
man.
gritty things of
It's
how
missing.
should I create my
Yeah.
brand, like kind of branding your agency, how should I brand it,
Sure.
how should I be in front of people, what are some of the things to do to market it on other than like direct sales, what's some other ways I can advertise it, and kind of those things.
Sure.
I will go into basics probably of like, here's how you do, like I'll probably want to give people like, here's the third party email provider I used in it, and those kind of things. So you can offer the email marketing yourself. It's a white label service. Like, so adding all those things, I can tell people like how I outsource all my web design development. So now we're getting I have a team just dedicated to me that does web design development, but it'll probably cost me like $1,000 to create like a really really nice website, or $1,200, and we're going out there and charging people $12,000 for them. Like, so that's a
Very
huge
cool.
profit margin for those kind of things, and it's like,
Hmm.
how can I don't do any of the work for that. It's literally just the communication. I used to just do the communication between my guys that created, design, develop the websites and the client. And now I don't even do that. My sales guys and account managers just talk directly to the designers, developers, and to the clients, and they
Nice.
pass it off between BaseCamp. Um,
Very nice, man. That's
and
arbitrage on
so
steroids.
yeah, so like just kind of going over all those things, like how can I do all this stuff? What can I outsource? What kind of softwares can I use in my business?
Cool.
Um, what kind of rank tracking tools can I use? So like I have a super cool SEO system that I use now. It's an enterprise SEO system, but it's like, you know, I don't know I forget what the monthly fee is, but I think it's costing us something like, I think it's like $15,000 a year or something like that.
Okay.
Um, so it's something like super crazy, but it's like, when do I need to get to that point? When you have SEO clients paying you $10,000 a month, or even you have a bunch of them. I have a couple of $5,000 a month SEO clients. We just got a new $10,000 a month SEO client. They expect more than just here's your SERP book report,
Yeah.
like kind of
Sure.
thing. Um, and so it does equal out really nicely though, because the monthly fee we pay, or we have to pay it up every 3 months, but I think it's for like 20 clients or something like that, and it equals like $75 a month per client. So it's like really
Okay.
not like, if you determine it out that way, it's like if
Yeah.
I have 20 clients and it's only costing me $75 a month, that includes your keyword tracker and all the other stuff in there, all your analytics, everything inside of one package. Um,
That's cool.
it pulls everything from SEMrush too, so it does all your keyword opportunities, all your competitors. So like it integrates with all those things. It integrates with some like Open Site Explorer and all that stuff. So you don't have to have
Okay.
subscriptions to any of those anymore, really, too. Um,
Hmm.
so it kind of offsets some of those costs at the same time. But like, just I want to go into all that stuff. Like, here's when you can eventually get those kind of things, and here's how to use that kind of software and how we use it and all that kind of. Because some of those
Yeah.
things don't have really good trainings even. So
It sounds awesome, man. I mean, it's a hole in the market. It really is. It's a void of, you know, like you said, there's a lot of training on technical stuff, but the whole, just take a step back and here's how to grow a real business. I think that's
yeah,
awesome, man.
and what
That's
kind of
awesome.
services you can offer, and pricing is a big thing. So like, a big thing that I like to talk about is, when we were offering just SEO, sometimes people would come to us and be like, "Man, I can only afford $1,000 a month for SEO." If we're like, "Well, what if we take over all your marketing? We do Facebook ads, we create and design your website, and we manage it, and we also can add in like retargeting." And so we might package those three things together, and we're like, "Hey, that's going to cost you $3,500 a month." And they don't realize that the SEO package now went from $1,000 to $1,500,
Hmm.
and the other 2 grand went to like doing the other things. But it's like, hey, you just snuck in an extra $500 in there because you offered extra services than just SEO. People
Yeah,
don't realize that because
absolutely.
it's now a package deal. It's just, here's your package deal. Here's how
Yeah.
much it's going to cost you a month. It looks like they're getting way more bang for their buck, because they're like, you're doing all these things from them, that looks like, and you're getting a lot of different traffic from different places and managing more stuff. But you can make a lot more profit that way, and that's kind of why I
Hmm.
started going that route. Or you can get people that were going to say no to say yes. So
Yeah, for sure. That's really good stuff, man. So we'll be on the lookout for that. You'll have to let us know when you're closer to that point, and we'll get some links dropped for you. Get people over to that. I think that'd be a good resource for everyone. You know.
I was
Yeah.
talking to Jake about speaking at our event.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big drive, man. Not a big drive at all. It's
Where
an
where
even
is that?
shorter flight. Philly.
Oh yeah, that's easy. I've drove there a bunch of times.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool, man. We had a lot of interest in it. It's our first one, so I think it'll be fun. We have a really cool community. It's you almost get to feel like you know the people rather than they're just people in a Facebook group that we post in sometimes. It's
Yeah,
more of a tight knit community, and I think it'll be a lot of fun as long as we can keep Matt under some type of responsible control.
I'm leading a bar crawl for the event.
Of course, of course.
yes. I'm not coming if there isn't one.
Yeah, amen.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, that would be cool, man. We'll have to touch bases on that, and it's good stuff. I really appreciate you jumping on the show with us today, man. Sharing some of your insight. It's cool because, like I said, people that saw your transformation. They can follow how you took your business from an SEO service to a successful digital marketing agency, man. It's exciting, and it's congratulations, and more success to you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it was great talking with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thanks, Jake.